a Bally 6803 MPU from a heavy metal Meltdown, and the reason it was sent to me was the client believed that a couple of these transistor circuits had been locked on or didn't function one way or the other. But once it was here, I could see that there was a significant amount of alkaline corrosion here that needed to be abated. So I took care of that the usual way, scrape the parts, sand down to bare traces, make sure all the traces are still intact, and then replace with new parts. This reset section's got a little bit of an oddball characteristic in that originally Bally used 1N4606 85 volt Zener diodes. You can replace those. There are 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think, with standard 1N4148s. So let's power it up. I have Leon's test ROM installed, and when we power it up, we get the lower LEDs blinking. I think there's about 9 of them, and that is correct. And the control board LED is blinking. And over here in the lamp section, get my lamp tester connected. That's lamp 1, 7, and 16, I believe, and that is correct also. And when I press the diagnostic button here, the lamps are going to start turning on, and the solenoid drives are going to start walking down this ladder of LEDs. So you can see all of those are operating. There are 2 at the right end, one with a dot over it, and the third one from the right, and those do not light up in this test mode with Leon's test ROM. That is normal. So the lamps, all the lamps are lit except for where my test fixture bridges between 2 of the connectors, J10 and 11, and where there's a key pin underneath. So the 5th one down from the bridge is a key pin. So I can move up to the next section, and I've got 2 key pins and a 2-pin bridge there, and those are operating properly. And then the next section I have, go from the top here, and there's 3 key pins and a 2-pin bridge. So those are all lighting up as they should. So I'm going to throw this board into my 8-ball champ and make sure the displays are working. I rolled in some pictures of the header pins at the start of the video, and you can see I've replaced all the 0.100s. I've replaced all the headers all the way around, and those things are press fit into the board, so it's a little dicey getting them out, and sometimes putting the new ones in, you have to really clear out the solder holes to get those in, and sometimes you have to give them a gentle tap with a hammer to encourage them to go in. So let's get this thing into my 8-ball champ. So here we are in my 8-ball champ. We're booting the game. And it looks like player 2 is flickering. Looks like the displays are flickering. That is just a synchronized beating that occurs because I'm lighting with fluorescent light down here. You can see all the lamps are operating, but let's use the fabulous Easy as 1, 2, 3 keypad. This particular one I got from Pennytech and assembled. So the first thing you got to do is press this button on the coin door. Now you're in diagnostics. Now it's clear as the nose on your face that you should enter 90 and enter. And what that does is it puts the game into lamp test. And I've already tested this on the bench, but lamp test in a game is more effective because on the bench I'm driving those SCRs with DC current, and they'll never turn off once they're turned on with DC current. You have to drive them with AC current, as is being done in the real game here. Now I'm going to press enter again on my wonderful keypad, and we'll enter display test. And again, that beating of each of the digits is not happening here in real life, but you can see all the displays are working properly. The next test is solenoid test. And 13 is the solenoid in the back box for some lighting. That was the obnoxious sound test. And you did not hear birds in my basement, or you did. It's just a clock I've got that makes bird sounds. So we're in switch test now. And I'll be darned if I didn't put a switch down inadvertently. Oh, it wouldn't matter anyway because I have the playfield connected to my Pennytech switch testing device. So I'm going to go through the first column, which is really the first row. And that is working properly. Now let's go across. The Bally switch matrix is a 5x8 switch matrix, 8 this way and 5 this way, which is 90 degrees rotated away from what everybody else did. So the next test, well, there is no next test. She's good to go. So let's press the button anyway. That's just telling me that my keypad thing works correctly. So I'm going to shut it down and reboot it. One of the maddening things about these swing gate doors on Bally's is that they want to swing open. So I've got a clamp to prevent that from happening. Also, you might have noticed in the lamp test that this 3X bonus multiplier insert was flickering. I put a LED in there just to see if there would be some ghosting, and yes, there is. So this board, the CPU board, is good to go, and I really appreciate you sending it. I'll follow up with the Pinside thread where we were talking about this. Thank you so much. Dual solid state relay board for use on Heavy Metal Meltdown, and I repinned this one also. Guess which are the new pins and which are the old pins?